Oh that, I think, I wish I could show you a video of you singing today to you 2 years ago. You're like, I was like, bringing the house down.
Śrī Guru-vaiṣṇava Māhātmya-gīti ki.
You're going to fit right in Bengal, man. They all sing super highly.
I wasn't expecting to go there.
I could tell when all of a sudden Jackie's like, I have to commit to this. However, I would say one very nice thing is that you do commit. Sometimes people just like cut.
They go back?
Yeah, or they just like flounder, or they drop a tone completely, like they give up. And it's nice. You just have to go for it, actually, because you don't know what you're
by
doing.
the heights that they've arrived at.
Can you hand me one of those hardback books? Are they the same or they're not the same quite?
The big one and the little one?
Yeah.
They're the same translation, but they're different prints.
Oh, it's just the print that's different.
Yeah, I think the print... Actually, I love this little tiny one, but I have heard many people that are a little older go, goodness, the font's tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Jai. Bhagavad-Gita Bhasha ki Jai.
Jai.
Chapter 10 ki Jai. Vibhūti Yoga. Vibhūti. Very beautiful word. The glories of the Lord. Vibhūti means His potency, His
Vibhūti Rai Kishorī Didi.
Mysterious power. So, we've been on an amazing journey in the Gita so far. So many dimensions have been covered, but if you were to summarize, maybe we can try to summarize. Krishna's explaining to Arjuna that he's a soul, and that his relationship with reality. There's two things that are going on. Krishna's explaining what reality is, and Krishna's explaining to Arjuna his relationship with reality. And as the Gita goes on, both of those things are becoming refined. There's many, many levels of reality and many levels of relationship with reality. So Arjuna explains in the very beginning that he should be motivated by duty, and that he should just do his duty without attachment. And he slowly is explaining to Arjuna that there is a basis to reality that's divine. The experience that we're having in this body, which is temporary, and with everything around us, which is temporary, is not permanent, but there is a divine substance underlying reality. That's Brahman conception. And then deeper Paramatma conception, that every aspect of even this impermanent reality that we're within is permeated by the Supreme Lord, which is Paramatma conception. Every single tiniest particle at its very basis has personal conscious substance within it. And that he should come into relationship with that. And ultimately, in chapter 9, he becomes very clear. I am actually at the basis of everything. And also in chapter 7, he's moving toward this conception. There's Brahman conception, Paramatma conception, and Bhagavan conception. And ultimately, Krishna is saying, come into relationship with me. So in chapter 9, Raja Guhya Yoga, he's saying, here's how you link with me, very simply. Right? Offer me a flower, a leaf, some water, right? A fruit. Offer me something. And Yat Karoshi Yadashnashi, whatever you're doing, do for me. Whatever you're eating, eat for me. Yad Shuhoshi, whatever you're sacrificing, sacrifice for me. Dadati, whatever you're giving, give to me. Mattapasyasti Kaunteya, if you're doing something difficult, if you're doing some austerity, do it for me. So that's Raja Guhya Yoga. Come into relationship with me and start to bring me into every moment of your life. And do it for me. So some sense of the soul as a contributing and giving unit to the very basis of reality at every point of any experience in reality. Very deep idea. And then chapter 10, in the beginning, Krishna goes through what is the nature of that relationship. What is, these are, we're going to read the four, what are considered the four principal verses of the Gita, which are in this chapter, which are talking about the nature of what that relationship of the Lord, its nature, what love with the Lord. And then the last part of the chapter is Krishna just explaining Here's how you can see me, my potencies, experience me and my potencies within the world that you find yourself, which is also very beautiful. Okay, so let's begin. Chapter 10, Vibhūti Yoga. Bhuya eva mahabaho shrinu me paramang vachaha yateham priyamanaya vakshami hitakamyaya name vidu suragana prabhavam na maharshayah aham adira hi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah yo mamajam manadim cha veti loka maheshwaram asangmudha samartyeshu sarva papai pramuchyate. I'm going to start us off, Jayadev.
The Supreme Lord said, O heroic Arjuna, listen to my supreme word once again. Desiring your welfare, I shall speak to you who are very dear to me. Neither the demigods nor the great sages can understand my transcendental appearance in this world, as I alone am the origin of those celestial beings and sages. One who knows me, the son of Devaki, as the birthless, beginningless, supreme Lord of all beings, is undiluted among men and completely liberated from sin.
Go to you all. Oh, he's saying, because remember the time that he's speaking, and most people have at the topmost of their conception some conception of Brahman. And then the very few have the conception of Paramatma within this time frame. And then the very few among them, you know, as you go through Mahabharata, you can see who are actually the higher souls. And they're saying, oh, he is Paramatma personified. He is the Supreme Soul. So Krishna's saying, look, demigods don't know this. Great sages don't know this. No one can understand that me, the source of everything, are appearing within this temporary world for my own play. And why? Because I'm of a higher stuff than them. They came from me, but I'm not dependent upon them. Hare Krishna.
Like the first verse also, it goes, I shall, desiring your welfare, I shall speak to you who are very dear to me. It's very sweet, actually. Through the whole thing, there's still like a personal kind of feeling that's going on, that they are actually conversing to each other, even though ultimately it's being shared for the benefit, right? Because there's a mystical sage who's seeing everything on the battlefield, and he's relating the Bhagavad-Gita to a king. That's what's happening. That's how the story moves on. But it's very sweet that it's personal. Like, because he's saying it constantly, like, oh, strong-armed hero, oh, mighty Arjuna, oh, you know, like, he's calling him all of these different, like, titles. And then it's just like, you know, because I want good for you and I really like you, I'm going to share from my heart something to you. It's so sweet, actually. It's just very nice. Okay. 4.
Sukham dukham bhava bhayam cha bhayameva cha ahimsa samata tushtis tapodanam jasho yasha bhavanti bhava bhutanam mata eva pratag vidah mahashaya sapta purve chatvaro manavastata madbhava manasa jata jesham loka ima praja. Which way? Oh. Or where is that? Okay.
4, 5, and 6.
Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from delusion, forbearance, truthfulness, mental control, sense control, happiness, unhappiness, birth, death, fear, courage, nonviolence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. All these various attributes of the living beings are born of me alone. The 7 great sages headed by Marichi, and preceding them, the 4 Brahmin sages headed by Sanaka, and also the 14 Manus or progenitors headed by Swayambhuva, all are empowered by me and are born of Lord Brahma, who is a manifestation of my mind. Mankind and all progeny descends from these patriarchs.
Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yogeti tatvatah so vikalpena yogena yujyate natra samshayah aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matra bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha.
Hare Krishna. There's so many words, so many dimensions in feeling and consciousness. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from delusion, forbearance. And forbearance is a very subtle thing to experience. Truthfulness, mental control, sense control, happiness, unhappiness, birth, death, fear, courage, nonviolence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, infamy. All these things are very, very subtle feelings within consciousness. And Krishna is saying, I'm the ocean of all of that. Whatever these things are, these dimensions of consciousness, they're born of me. And all the Prajapatis means there's an idea that this universe was populated. Okay, and there's a lot of controversy now in terms of where did life come from on this planet. And there's a lot of people used to be absolutely laughed at, but now I think it's not so laughed at about where did humanity come from. And there's some idea that it came from another planet, not necessarily here. But there's an idea in the Vedas that the universes are populated by these great subtle beings within the universe. And Krishna's saying, yeah, but they all come from me also. So everything, has its individuality and has its place and existence. But in the end, it's all ultimately coming to Krishna. And then, if you understand this, then you can serve me in unwavering realization. Of this, there's no doubt. One who thus knows in truth my supremacy in devotional service, serves me in unwavering realization. Of this, there's no doubt. I am Kṛṣṇa. So this is the beginning of the 4 Catur-śloki. Chatu means 4. The 4 principal verses of the Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. I am Kṛṣṇa, the sweet absolute, the origin of all. The entire universe of material and transcendental play, activity, purpose, and the Vedas and allied scriptures which give guidance, all evolve from me alone. Realizing this hidden treasure, persons of fine theistic intelligence surpass the mundane and embrace the path of love divine, Ragamarg, and adore me forever. Buddha Bhava Samanvitaiti Matva Bhajante Mam. Commentary, verses 8 through 11 are the 4 principal verses of Śrīmad Bhagavad Gītā. The ontological substance of the book is contained within these 4 essential verses, beginning, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, everything evolves from me. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, verse 11, the 3 main conceptions of the Absolute are given as Brahman, Paramatman, and Bhagavan. Brahman is the all-comprehensive aspect of the Absolute. Paramatman is the all-permeating aspect of the Absolute. And Bhagavan is the personal conception of the Absolute. The word Bhagavan is generally defined as stated in Vishnu Purana. Aishvaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashaha shriyaha Jnana vairagyayosthaiva Śrāṇāṃ bhaga itingana. He who is full with the 6 opulences of wealth, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation is known as Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. The characteristic of Bhagavan as Lord Narayana is that all kinds of potencies are personally controlled by him. However, Srila Jiva Goswami has given a special and particularly fine interpretation. Bhagavan means bhajaniya guna vishishta. His nature is such that whoever comes into contact with him cannot resist serving him. No one can resist feeling moved to worship and adore his charming personality. As Lord Kṛṣṇa, he attracts the love of everyone. Rai, do you want to continue to read the next page?
Therefore, by the word Sarvasya, Lord Kṛṣṇa indicates, I am Svayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord Himself. I am not the origin of not only Brahman and Paramatman. I am the origin of the Master of all potencies, who commands the respect of everyone, Lord Narayan of Vaikuntha. Mata Sarvam Pravartate. Every attempt and movement begins from me, including the methods by which everyone worships and serves me in devotion.
Nayam atma pravachanena labhyo namedhaya na bahuna shrutena yam evaisha vrinute tena labhyas tasyaisha atma vivrinute tanum svam.
I think Prema chose this verse for the Bhagavad-Gita class like 15 or 20 years ago. This one. The Lord cannot be known by logic, intelligence, or extensive study of the scriptures, but He reveals Himself to one who is eager to serve Him and prays to Him for His grace.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's not like, that's like a game changer kind of realization coming in the form of a verse. It means that you'll never be able to exploit the infinite, but for that soft-hearted approach, everything can be revealed. Right? It's very, the currency for the interaction is just different than the currency that we're dealing with in like an exploitive sense. But it's open and free to all, so to speak. Right?
Sure.
Oh, it's amazing. In this way, Mata Sarvam Pravartate. I am the first to reveal to the people. Worship me in this way. I appear as Guru, and through him I worship myself. Haraye, Dave? Have you heard this sentence before? I am the first to reveal to the people. This is Krishna saying this. Worship me in this way. I appear as Guru, and through him I worship myself.
Keep reading.
It's a very important.
Well,
this is like the whole point. We'll get into it here also. But in Śrī Guru and His grace, this is like an extremely important meditation, actually, for anyone that's in the mat that is worshiping Śrīla Guru Maharaj. This is what takes away everything from fundamentalism. Because there is like this idea of Guru where you're throwing yourself and fully surrendering to a Guru, right? Kṛṣṇa is moving through that person to speak to you. Like he can also move through another person and speak to you at a certain point. Not saying that that's a common thing or that you disregard what the Guru is giving. But it's a very deep and important principle. That's how you have stories in the scriptures where like a stranger practically is speaking to someone and their whole life is like, boom, and then they go, oh my gosh, it's my Guru who speaks. It's the same Guru that's always been, right? The Supreme Lord utilizing that person to give you a message, right? So that's why you worship the Guru the same as the Lord, because he's being utilized to help you on your journey. You're ultimately worshiping Kṛṣṇa through someone. That's a very important thing to understand, that Kṛṣṇa is always behind everything. Because also the same idea of Guru can get like really wrecked and get super weird, right? And so that's the harmonizing, extremely vital principle of worshiping a teacher and worshiping the Lord through that teacher, and keeping that like very pure in your heart that the Lord can use anyone. And that's also like starts to get you into this world of like, oh, divinity can happen at any point, not just in some fairyland in the future if I'm good or something else. That one moment that happens, like no, omnipotent, omnipresent. And that's really what Kṛṣṇa is saying is like, I'm in everything. I'm in every moment that you're in. I'm in every single experience that you're in. It is diffused to the tiniest cell, of experience that you're having. Right? Remember me. Like, remember that. I'm actually the basis for everything that's going on. So it's a very important principle to meditate upon in the world of Guru. And then, of course, we'll go into it more. But it's just, I think it's important to pause on it a tiny bit. I actually didn't understand that for a long period of time and grew up with these books. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam, the Guru is described by the Lord as his own direct manifestation. Acharya mam vijaniyam navamanyeta karhichit naamartya buddha yasuyeta sarva deva mayo guru. Sri Krishna said to his devotee Uddhava, you should know the bona fide spiritual master as my very self. Gurudev is the embodiment of all the gods. Never dishonor him or find fault in him by ascribing any mundane conception of place, time, and circumstance to him. Furthermore, the Lord's finest potency is Śrīmatī Rai. Of course, there are many other eternal associates, but the highest order of devotional service is represented by Śrīmatī Rai. The Lord is therefore saying, my worship is shown by me. Finest potency, worship myself. Iti matva bhajante mam. Understanding this conception, the Lord will come to worship me, always under the direction of my best worshipper, my finest potency and representation, Radharani or Gurudev. Crossing her, the highest and most desirable form of service to me, is not possible. Radha Dasyam, the servitorship of Śrīmati Radharani is indicated here. Only those who are blessed with divine intelligence will be able to appreciate this, and not persons with self-acquired intelligence from this Maya order, the world of misconception. In this verse, the word Buddha refers to Sumedashaha, as described in the Śrīmad Bhagavatam, or persons of fine theistic intelligence arising from direct connection with the transcendental plane. The inner guidance and direction they receive is the outcome of Sukriti, divine merit acquired by the association of pure devotees. Bhava samanvitaha means raga samanvitaha, anurag, love and attraction which is affinity, not by strictly following scriptural rules or drawn from any plane of loss and gain, but from the Bhava, inner divine inspiration. Devotion of this high type is completely non-calculative, as described by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti-rasa Samrita Sindhu.
Anyabhilashitasan.
Read the transcript for Haraye.
Anyabhilashita shunyam jnanakarmadyanavritam anukulena Kṛṣṇānu shīlanam bhaktiruttama.
The highest devotion is that which satisfies Lord Kṛṣṇa, free from the coverings of any pursuits such as action, and knowledge. The most rare and elevated stage of devotion is in the line of spontaneous devotion, known as Raga Marg. In that line, guided by the qualified Guru, an elevated pure devotee may attain service to a leader of one of the groups of Krishna's personal associates, serve the Lord in his pastimes in a relationship of friendship, Sakya Ras, parenthood, Vatsalya Ras, or consorthood, Madhura Ras. In Vrindavan, the Lord is served in spontaneous devotion by his friends headed by Subalasaka, and by his parental devotees headed by Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. The gopis headed by Lalita and Vishaka serve him in consorthood. But amongst all his associates and amongst all the gopis, the highest order of divine love and service is rendered to the Lord by Śrīmatī Radharani. Therefore, the Acme of Raga Marg is the service of Radharani, Radhadasyam. This is the highest objective of the Rupanuga Gaudiya Sampradaya, the followers of pure devotion as taught by Srila Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada, in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Okay, very beautiful, very amazing. Yeah, very amazing purport. So I can just go through it quickly again. Aham sarvasva prabhavo. I'm the cause of everything. Everything is evolution, beginning its evolution from me. Matta sarvam pravartate. And every attempt and every movement begins with me, including the worship of me. Right? Iti matva bhajante mam. Someone who understands this is going to come into relationship with me and worship me. But Guru Maharaj has given a very important illumination, which is my finest potency, Guru. The method by which you worship me is coming from me. So Radha and Krishna in one sense are one, in another sense are not. But we're in that line. Krishna is very, very clear that everything is in service of me. So iti matva bhajante mam. Who understands this comes to worship me. And buddha bhava samandvita. Buddha, those who have wisdoms, bhava samandvita, they come into relationship with me. The relationship means personalities. And that's an opening to the door of a wonderful world. So Krishna is giving some new lease of life to the world. That there's a relationship with Him. Buddha bhava samandita. Okay, so verse 1 of the 4. Then the next one is Matchitta Madgata Prana on 173. Matchitta Madgata Prana.
I thought it was just, you know what I thought this was a nice sentence? It says, but from Bhava, inner divine inspiration is how they translate Bhava, which I thought was nice.
Yeah, very beautiful.
Not quite a lot of inspiration. Then we have to proceed in our lives through inner inspiration. Checking with the Lord, and not through some impressions from the mundane plane of illusion. It's that word inspiration I find very lovely.
Because, I mean, like, usually when you hear Bhava, you hear, like, it's like a feeling, like a high, a mood. But it's an inner divine inspiration. It's, I don't know why, somehow I never...
That you're pointing out, because sometimes we think of feeling in the way that we think of feeling in this world, but it is always service. That feeling of Bhava is 100% in the mood of service. So it is that inspiration of service that's coming through the heart. And I mean, I really think it's lovely that you brought that up. And the other thing that's really intriguing me, for some reason, and you pointed it out too, sort of that verses 4 and 5, that we think of, that fear and all these things that are like very strongly connected, we think of with the mundane plane. But that's all coming from Krishna too. And I've just been thinking about this through the class, because we are going to feel many, many kinds of emotions, and some of them are very, very painful. And, anger and all those things are part of the Lord's energy, the external energy. And therefore, in those times, we can also surrender to Krishna. That's coming from you, my Lord. This is your grace. I'm experiencing all this frustration or disappointment or anger or fear or any of those things. This is also your grace. This is also within you. There's no enemy outside, like the devil or something, that's not part of Krishna. to know that, one becomes liberated. He's not leaving anything. I just heard Guru Maharaj saying this in the car on the way here. He's saying liberation does not mean you're leaving something, but you're coming into harmony with the absolute truth, with the absolute reality, with Kṛṣṇa, and then you are no longer affected mundanely. You will see the Lord behind all of these things. Does that make sense? It's very, this verse, for some reason, I found super intriguing tonight.
Yeah, it's very. You guys are reading Upadeshamrita. Guru Maharaj is also emphasizing this in Upadeshamrita, that ultimately, the scripture's conclusion is that feeling, at a certain point of evolution, at a certain point of advancement within the devotee, feeling is a much more reliable navigator than the intellect. And this is a wonderful idea, because in the end, everything comes down to feeling. We're just chasing feeling. We're doing things for feeling. And there is a feeling that is pervading reality, and a multifarious feeling. And Raga Marg means ultimately your feeling becomes reliable, and you are navigating just only according to these wonderful pulls of the heart. So it's an amazing thing, because Guru Maharaj is saying, even now, someone asks Guru Maharaj, like, how can we have any kind of relying on our own feeling? Because at the same time we have these totally unreliable feelings that are coming to us because we're in a little bit of a deluded state. But Guru Maharaj says, you have to trust. There's something that brought you here. And that was a feeling. There's some spark of actual truth within you. And you still have to find that and be sincere to that always. And in Śrī Guru's grace, he's saying something so revolutionary. Don't be bound by any organization or any society. You have to pursue that feeling that is somehow has some sincerity in you that's searching for absolute truth.
One of my favorite sentences of all time, Guru Maharaj goes, we must never forget that inner Messiah that brought us here in the first place. And I thought, what an amazing thing. Because, we go like, we're so fallen, we're so humble, we're so messed up, we never know what's right. And it's like, yeah, it's true. But you're also here, and something has to be sincere, otherwise you could be doing plenty of other things with your time. Right, and then you have to go, right. And then actually on this same subject, one of my other all-time favorite verses from Bhagavad-Gītā is where Kṛṣṇa says, Dadami Vibhūti Yoga tam, right, where he says, I will give you the intelligence by which you will find me. Which means that ultimately the Lord's involved with every section of the journey. Like, we're throwing ourselves, he's like, yeah, I'm going to be the one that actually helps you find me, which is very wonderful.
It is wonderful. And I think this idea of feeling as being the fundamental thing is really important. It's interesting, probably the best sales book I've ever read in business. The conclusion of that sales book is, no matter how intellectual and data-driven a person is, this is this author's opinion, there's not a single person in the world who makes a decision off of data. All data does is shut down the intellectual part of the mind, the fear-driven part of the mind. The only reason why anyone does anything is because they're searching for a feeling. And I mean, he's saying this in a very manipulative way, which is, so you got to figure out who this guy you're selling to, what feeling they're searching for, and then try and, present your product as like the thing that's going to give that feeling. Right? Somebody wants validation on their life, or they want a legacy, or they want something, but they're just searching for a feeling, right?
I read something similar. There was this philosophy of history book written by a guy, Oswald Spengler, and he went through like Egyptian history, Chinese history, Indian history, like all these different periods, and investigated the consciousness, like the real like internal mood of like all these different people and eras. And he said something I thought was really interesting was like you can have a worldview, you can have a philosophy, and they're innumerable, and they're all competing, and they all have internal inconsistencies, and they all have their flaws, but it's not that. It's not internal consistency or like technical flawlessness which really convinces people. What convinces people is, looking into it and being struck by the beauty of it. That's what really like captures your heart, and that's what really like commits you to one philosophy or another.
And isn't that Dostoevsky's one of his conclusions? In it's not the Brothers Karamazov. What's the book? No, I'm forgetting the name of the book, but it's the book that says beauty will conquer the world. That conclusion, and basically what he's saying is, in the end, intellectual debates will never stop, and the only thing that actually is common to everyone is that they're searching for and controlled by beauty. And that is, that's the wonderful thing of Kṛṣṇa, Akila Rasamrita Murti.
Isn't Kant saying that exact thing, that part of his thing, that there is no subjective, right? Your philosophy, isn't it? Am I remembering that correctly? Like in his arguments, one of his things that there is no subjective, there's only objective. You eliminate the subjective to eliminate the bias or the. Is that?
Yeah.
Because the Gurus are saying the exact opposite. It's all subjective. And there's always some subjective element. Even in healthcare, we talk about bias, but it's no matter how much data you have, there's always going to be some sort of subjective element involved, which is what the Gurus are saying. You can't.
Right. There's an individuality, but there's commonality within the individuality, because people are trying to find a truth that's not disturbed by subjectivity. But the ultimate conclusion is no one cares about that, actually. The only thing that they really care about is some feeling and relationship with beauty. Now, to the extent that you're searching for truth, Kṛṣṇa says there's a number of people that come into relationship with me. One is the person who's searching for truth. But in the end, like the soul lives off of rasa, and you have to find that feeling. So Guru Maharaj is saying the intelligent soul is searching what is the highest expression of beauty. What is the zenith of feeling, right? And what is that feeling that is devoid of any negative side, right? Because so much of the feeling in the world that we can very easily access has some negative counterbalance, right? It has some exploitative nature. So it's not that you turn off feeling, it's that you search for feeling that doesn't have exploitation.
I mean, it's some amazing thing ultimately to say that you're searching for beauty, which is like the complete refined conclusion of all of these scriptures, right? Krishna is the all-attractive, all-beautiful, divine, right? All of these people, when they finally have some glimpse, right? Guru Maharaj is saying that all of the things that you're doing are so that you come into contact with the truth. And when you come in contact with the truth, no one else will have to verify it for you. And here's the aftershocks of what happens when you come in contact with the truth. All selfish desires that are plaguing you, like, dissolve, and become like ashes in the wind, right? And there's a very interesting verse in the very beginning of Bhagavatam where it references a different Kali Yuga. And that Kali Yuga must be more technologically advanced than this Kali Yuga. Wow. And so it's saying in that Kali Yuga they're like using it's some
that
kind
particular
of
stage of that Kali Yuga.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But it would be more advanced because Buddha comes in that time period, right? So it's saying they have some kind of technology where they're killing all the residents on other planets. It's basically like some kind of Death Star, if you want to reference like a sci-fi thing. And says at that time, Lord Buddha appears
in that civilization,
to those people, and he's so beautiful that he charms them and stops them from all of their activities. That's it. Like, he's so beautiful that they can't continue on in the way. And it's very interesting because Buddha comes, in each yuga, he's coming with this kind of non-violent message, right? Where, like, that's that mudra, right? Where the hands of the deity are always in a different motion, just like Mahaprabhu has his own hands in a motion. They have symbolism in them. So when Buddha's hands are like this, which is a lot of the deities in Thailand, it means stop. He's saying, just stop doing what you're doing. Like, don't kill anything. Like, just stop. But it's amazing to think, actually, that he's so charming that you can't think of doing those things anymore. You're like bypassing all the reasons that you need to be doing with the mind.
Hare Krishna. Okay, then Krishna saying something very beautiful in verse 9. Matchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayanta shchamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Jarifu.
Always thinking of me, those surrendered souls converse about me, enlightening one another with the nectar of their devotional realizations, ever content and ecstatic in their divine natures. Commentary. The Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa is speaking about his pure devotees. Quote, I am in the hearts of their hearts, in their every thought. Their entire energy, their whole life is dedicated to my satisfaction. They converse with one another about me and experience mutual enlightenment. They always love to talk about me with whoever they meet and nothing else. For every time, place, and circumstance, I am the only subject of their discussion. They find very much satisfaction in this, tushyanti cha. End quote. Up to the divine relationship of parenthood, there is the feeling of satisfaction. Furthermore, ramanti cha, quote, just as a wife enjoys a conjugal relationship with her husband, the devotees similarly feel such ecstasy in my intimate company when speaking about me. This has also been mentioned by this previous acharyas.
Hare Krishna. So, feeling. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. Nani?
To those devotees who are always lovingly engaged in my service, I give the divine inspiration by which they can come to me. Commentary. The Lord says the highest group of my servitors, whose devotion was described in the previous verse by the word ramanti, are those who are constantly engaged, satata yukta, in my service, in concerthood madhura rasa, with heartfelt love. Bhajatam priti purvakam. Then he says that he will give them further inspiration or inner instruction by which they can come to him. Jainamam upayanti te. When already in this and the previous verse, the devotee's service to the Lord has been described as eternal by the words nityam and satata yukta, now the statement that he will give them further inspiration by which they can come to him may appear to be redundant. Therefore, in the expression mam upayanti te, they will come to me, the word upayanti must be defined as Parakīya bhavena upapati. Pati means husband, and upapati means paramour. In Vrindavan, Lord Kṛṣṇa is not considered a lawful husband, but he is the Lord of the heart, transcendental even to the husband, Parakīya rasa. Deceiving their husbands, the gopis of Vrindavan unite with Kṛṣṇa. They do not allow a second party to come between them and Kṛṣṇa. They cannot allow the interception of social law or even scriptural regulation because Kṛṣṇa's position is absolute, and such a relationship is more relishable to him. This is Vrindavan Bhajan, and this is the meaning of upapati. You want to read a little bit now? Or
that there's two important verses from Śrīmad Bhagavatam which are describing Vrindavan Bhajan. And I'm going to continue reading the purport. My relationship with them is independent of everything conceivable, including law, society, and the scriptures. It is most innate and natural, and it does not require any social or scriptural sanction. I say to them, you may show formal respect to all these restrictions and live in this society, but from the heart of your heart, you are mine. This is the special inspiration and insight I give those devotees. Buddhi yogam yena mam upayanti. Externally, there are social and scriptural demands, but my position is over and above them. Veda is my instruction for the benefit of the masses who have deviated from me, and society is also under the jurisdiction of those general instructions given to the people by me. But my divine relationship with everything is intrinsic and independent. It does not require recognition from anyone. Such a relationship is the highest. It is the constant. It supersedes all law and society, which are guided by the Vedas. Rather, all the Vedas are searching for such a thing. Shrutibhir vimrigyam visheshamrigya. The Vedas are searching after this ideal divine position. In the section of Śrīmad Bhagavatam which deals with Rasa Līlā, the Vedas are begging forgiveness. We are generally supposed to give tidings of you, but we could not describe you as we now experience you here. Now we understand that we have committed an offense because we could not distribute this Rasa Līlā to the world. Like signposts, all the revealed scriptures are only showing the direction, but where, how, we don't know. Only He may be available in this direction. Anywhere and everywhere, everything belongs to Him. For one who knows this, all possibilities of sense pleasure and exploitation are uprooted. For example, as an unmarried woman may have the possibility of being approached by many, but there is less possibility for those who are married, because they are possessed by someone. Similarly, when we are able to know that everything is only for the satisfaction of Kṛṣṇa, then we shall realize that all our exploiting tendencies have vanished forever. Nothing will remain to be utilized for the pleasure of our sense experience. It will be very deeply felt in our hearts that everything has its existence only for His satisfaction, and there is no room for any other exploitation.
We too are included there. Our existence is also only for His satisfaction. Everything is meant for His divine pastimes, līlā, and there is no possibility for any other's pastimes. All are included in that one līlā. Encroachment will disappear when we learn the proper utility of everything. He is the owner, and His ownership is absolute. Scripture, society, and law designate this is yours and that is another's, or that belongs to a third party. And it is something like a temporary lease, but the permanent ownership is in all respects with Him. All others, possessor and property, master and servant, are relative and only sanctioned by Him for the time being. He alone is the absolute owner, possessor, and enjoyer. Complete purification of our hearts is possible only when we arrive at such a conclusion. Everyone is thinking of themselves as many masters of many things, but this is all heart disease. Hridrogam. This is all conceived in a diseased state of consciousness. In a healthy state, when the heart is quite wholesome, we can see the supreme whole, and we can see that everything is meant only for His satisfaction.
Very beautiful. Dadami buddhi yogam tam.
I love that.
So those who are satata yukta, and they're always worshiping, and He will give the inspiration. And yenamam upayanti te, Guru Maharaj is saying, upayanti means ultimately there's nothing that it can't cross. When Krishna is giving that inspiration how to come to Him, it can supersede all law. It's absolutely revolutionary. And Guru Maharaj, I heard Gurudev himself say, I am a form breaker, not a form maker. right? That means the real call. The real call supersedes everything. And Dadami Buddhi Yoga, that Buddhi Yoga, that actual inspiration, that real, connection that Krishna is giving. Hey, Krishna. That has no limit. No restriction, no limit. And all the moralities and everything else, all the ethical systems, the societal structures, everything, they're all subservient to that. So, very beautiful and revolutionary idea. Hare Krishna. I mean, you cannot hear anything like this literally anywhere in the world. It's in the universe. It's completely amazing. Okay, then, verse 11. Krishna, right now we're in what are considered the Catur-śloki, the 4 primary verses of the Gita, and we're on the 4th one.
I heard the first one on the way out here.
Oh,
Catch up later.
sweet.
Christian never misses a class, even if he's not visibly seen.
That's the most I've missed.
Okay.
This is a super cool section. In fact,
Of course, it's a cool section.
it is. It's actually one of my all-time favorite verses of all scriptures. The last one that we've read because it's just so amazing.
Are we in chapter 9?
Chapter 10, and we're on page 178.
Tesham evanukampatham aham ajnanajam tamaha nasham yamyatma bhavastho jnanadipena bhasvata. All right, Haraye Prabhu.
Hello.
Okay.
Out of compassion for them, I, situated within the hearts of all living beings, dispel the darkness of ignorance with the radiance of knowledge. Or, being conquered by the love of those devotees who in their unalloyed loving devotion become afflicted by the all-devouring darkness, born of their pangs of separation from me, I illuminate their hearts with my presence, destroying the darkness of their pain of separation. Commentary.
Do you see the difference in the translation here? It's 2 different translations.
Let's hear the commentary, and I think that'll become clear.
Of the 2 translations given above, the first is the most general interpretation of this verse. But if we appreciate pure, non-calculative devotion, jnana shunya bhakti, the Lord's statement here may again appear redundant and inconsistent. When those high devotees are already admitted to be performing continuous and unadulterated service, and even above that, they are situated in the plane of pure love, spontaneous and automatic, raga marg, how can it be harmonized that the Lord will now, in the last stage, destroy their ignorance, tamah, born of misunderstanding, ajnanajam, by giving them knowledge, jnana? Jnana is only a cover, a futile, finite conception of the infinite absolute, jnana karmadi, anavritam, bhakti uttama. When they have achieved devotion devoid of the covering of knowledge, jnana shunya bhakti, how will they again have to return to that knowledge? Jnana. In his commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has mentioned that this knowledge is extraordinary, vilakshana, though he did not enter into specific detail to clarify this point. We have given the following explanation.
Lamentation and delusion are generally known to be symptoms of the mode of ignorance, tamoguna. In jnana sunya bhakti, the elevated devotees who take Kṛṣṇa not as the supreme God, but as a friend, son, husband, or lover, will come to experience lamentation and delusion. But this is only an outward appearance of ignorance. In fact, it is the pain of divine separation. They lament, "Where have you gone?" In this verse, the Lord's statement, "Tesam evanu kampartam," generally means "fortunately for them," or "to favor them, I dispel their darkness," etc. But it may also be interpreted, "I want their favor. I aspire for the favor of those devotees of the highest order." The Lord also says to the gopis in the Śrīmad Bhagavatam,
Mayi bhaktir hi bhutanam amritatvaya kalpate dishtyayad asin mat sneho bhavatinam madapana.
In general, people want devotion to me and to achieve eternal life. To cross the limit of mortality and to have eternal life, they come to me and worship me. For these reasons they want my service. But fortunately for you, O gopis, you have some natural affection towards me. That will ultimately bring you to me. This is the general meaning. However, in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami has drawn out the inner meaning of what Krishna is saying to the gopis, which is just the opposite. Through devotion, everyone wants me to help them attain the highest position of eternal benefit. And if they have a connection with me, they consider themselves fortunate. But I consider myself fortunate because I have come in touch with the valuable affection that I found in your hearts. By my fortune, I have got your association. Therefore, here in Śrī Gītā, the Lord is saying, Tesham evanu kampatam, being conquered by the love of those unalloyed devotees, when I cannot tolerate their pain of separation, I at once come running to satisfy them, and I reveal to them with special light, special consciousness, I have returned to you, see me now. With powerful brilliance, jnana dipena, I show them my presence when they are very much in need of me, and I relieve their pain of separation. Atma Bhava Staha. He reveals himself according to his devotee's divine relationship with him, rasa, to a friend as a friend, to a mother as a child, to a wife as a husband, and to the sweethearts as a paramour.
Can I just appreciate your pronunciation of the Visarga there? That was fantastic.
What's the Visarga, sorry?
The H at the end with the dot under it. Bhava Staha.
If you want the J end is Guhya.
Guhya? Okay. I heard you say it that way.
Yeah, Jnana. Jnana Dipena.
Okay, that's Jnana.
Yeah. Every time you see the J end, it's Guhya, especially that little.
That's an
little
O.
line at the end, yeah. Yeah, and then when there's a dot under the S, it's a sh. So Tesham Evanukam Partam Jnana Dipena, right? Those long vowels. Yeah. Jnana Dipena. Atma Bhava.
You can pass it to Jaidev.
It's amazing that this is hiding inside of Gita, this 10th chapter, and that this is very, very deep.
After Sri Chaitanya... After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left home and accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas, Mother Sachi could not tolerate the deep separation, and she began to cry. Sachi Devi was preparing excellent dishes, offering them to the deity and weeping, "Where is my Nimai? He is very fond of these curries. His favorite dishes, and Nimai is not here." Suddenly Lord Chaitanya came and began to eat. Sachi Devi exclaimed, "Oh, Nimai is eating." And for the time being, her separation was relieved. Moments later, she reconsidered. Did I see Nimai eating? But he is now a sannyasi in Jagannath Puri. How could he have come here? Did I serve him? There must be a mistake. Then she examined the pots again to see if there was food there. Finding them empty, she began to conjecture whether even a dog or some other animal had come and eaten it. But during that moment, Nimai had actually come, and Mother Sachi saw him in broad daylight. That illumination is transcendental, and not the knowledge, gyan, that is generally known in our vocabulary. The acme of theism is Parakīya rasa. Parakīya means another's. In every divine relationship, the Lord captures all. In the whole of Vrindavan, where everyone follows the path of love, raga marg, this Parakīya rasa is infused. The friends of Kṛṣṇa sometimes say, some people say that Kṛṣṇa is a resident of Mathura. They say he is the son of Vasudeva, and he will soon go to Mathura. They say he is not our friend. Will we really lose his company? Then how will we be able to live in this jungle and herd the cows? They experience this apprehension. We may lose him at any time. This intensifies their friendly service to him.
Similarly, Mother Yashoda thinks, some say that Kṛṣṇa is not my son. He's Devaki's son. What is this? I won't admit this. He is my child. This idea enhances Yashoda's affection for Kṛṣṇa. I may lose him. Then how shall I live? Therefore, the Parakīya rasa stresses the rarity of Kṛṣṇa's relationship because the possibility of losing his company is always in the background. But the highest intensity of service is to be found in the Madhura rasa, concerthood group. In the other rasas, there is the idea of suspense that he may go away. But in the concerted relationship, in the divine abode of Vrindavan, the consorts cross the directions of the scriptures and the society, which guide everyone to remain as husband and wife, Svakīya. Parakīya and others has been accepted in the science of devotion as the highest conception above the socially and scripturally sanctioned Svakīya, one's own. Very interesting. Parakīya or paramour relationship nourishes the pastimes of Kṛṣṇa by deceiving one who claims ownership over another, such as a husband over a wife or a parent over the child. The normally accepted relationship of Svakīya is commonplace, but to cross the jurisdiction of the scriptures and society as a paramour means a greater risk, as if to commit sin. Thus, this relationship is very rare, and rarity enhances its intensity and value. The idea of deceiving the possessor to favor the non-possessor in spiritual sense is a beautiful, ornamental conception. Actually, in Kṛṣṇa's case, there cannot be any state of paramourship because in truth he is the owner of everything. However, the divine arrangement is fashioned in this way to enhance the devotee's internal devotion for the Lord, just as food appears more tasteful when hunger is present. In Vaikuntha, the nature of worship of Lord Vishnu is gorgeous, majestic, reverential, and awe-inspiring. But above that, in the highest conception, Godhead is human-like in form and nature. It is stated in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in the teachings to Sanatana Goswami. The highest form of Godhead is Kṛṣṇa, who plays in his eternal divine pastimes like a human being. An ever-youthful cowherd boy of Vrindavan, the best of dancers, he enjoys his pastimes, always playing his flute. His beauty is so charming and sweet that the whole universe is flooded by even the tiniest atom of it. And all beings are attracted irresistibly to him.
He is approachable by all. We can find God, nearest of all, in a human feature. It has been explained how Krishna's form of human feature is the highest form of the Absolute, according to the calculation of ecstasy, rasa, which is the common standard of measurement of the whole scope of the infinite. By the development of Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhura, and then Parakīya rasa, tranquility, servitude, friendship, parenthood, consorthood, and then paramour relationship. This is scientifically proven without whimsical or blind faith. We follow the line of Rupanuga Bhajan, devotion following the line of Srila Rupa Goswami, which originates from Sri Chaitanya Dev. The scientific basis can be appreciated. The previous acharyas have left comprehensive teachings for us on how to follow, conceive, and attain all these things. Okay. So, went very high, pretty much as high as it can go in the scriptures. But very important conception. For those without ego or envy, that's beautiful. I think one of the most important things to understand, everything is a spiritual plane. And in the highest spiritual plane of relationship with Kṛṣṇa, there's risk. And there's a sense of intense value to the moment, because at any time Kṛṣṇa can go away. Right? Everything is building intensity. And risk means you have to cross the society, you have to cross the, sometimes the scripture or the dharma or whatever it is. Very, very intense. And all these things really actually exist to serve that intensity. So, such a vision, such a bolt of light we have to bathe our consciousness. Okay, now we can read.
Can I ask a question, Prabhu?
Sure.
How can, if Kṛṣṇa is in everything and everywhere, how can he go away? Or why does he? What does that mean?
Hare Krishna. This is actually an extremely deep question. And it's important to understand that the play of God is not dead, and peace is not the goal. Actually, entering into a relationship with the Divine Infinite is the beginning of an actual adventurous life in the ocean of feeling. And the highest intensity for a devotee of the Lord is to be separated from the Lord, or to experience that separation. So it's said that there's two potencies of, you can say, illusion or not seeing the Lord that the soul can come under. One is called Mahamaya, which means us. We're not seeing the Lord because we want to exploit the world. The second is Yogamaya, meaning that possibility for the Lord, for the devotee to not see the Lord, is there to serve actually the union, the yoga. And so that intensity of feeling that's welling up within the devotee in search for the Lord, in separation for the Lord, that is driving everything in the līlā. Ultimately is driving reality. So that's called vipralambha in Sanskrit. And it means that the devotee can be in a position where they are not seeing the Lord, where that touch, they're feeling an absence. And it's said that, these are higher things, but I'm going to mention these things just so that we can have some context for this. It's said that within the heart of the devotee, within the heart of Śrīmati Radharani, her intensity of separation from the Lord is actually pulling the Lord into her heart. And that version, or that perfection of the Kṛṣṇa that is being pulled into her heart by the intensity of her separation. It's this very beautiful spiritual ornament. It's called union in separation. And that Kṛṣṇa is said to be the most perfect, primal, absolute representation of Kṛṣṇa himself. So this pastime of union and separation from the Lord and his devotees is actually driving all dynamic reality, and is the fundamental nature of the play of God. Right? So when the devotee's entering into that world of līlā, they're actually entering into a world of extreme intensity and the zenith of feeling that's coming from that high necessity and then its satisfaction.
What does Adhokshaja mean?
Adhokshaja means inconceivable, unknowable.
It's the name of Krishna's Adhokshaja. And in like one of the old lectures of Guru Maharaj, he says, Adhokshaja, first you see him, then he's gone, like a flying saucer. And he says that in that, I have it written down in a notebook. But there's also like this idea of the infinite cause of all causes. Guru Maharaj says over and over again, he is for himself and by himself. Meaning that we're trying to come into contact with it's likened to like a river, right? Like a lava flow, right? And we're not the conductor of that lava flow, right? And so you're trying to search for your connection with what's occurring and throw yourself towards that. And, of course, that can take any kind of level of drama, but generally speaking, no story is, I got there, right? There's an expression. That's what that word expression, like it means something's getting crushed out, right? Expression of the heart means something's crushing out of the heart. When you meditate on this word, the expression, so the expression of the heart of the devotee, right? It has to hit like these peaks and these, like, we don't know what actually is inside of us. So it gets expressed out of us, right? That's what an offering actually is there's an expression in an offering. There's an expression in service. And the idea that we're not the supreme controller where Krishna's right there for us to express ourselves is appropriate, right? Because then it's not really placing the infinite in his own space, right? It's just another thing that we've ticked off on a list of like spiritual life or religion, maybe, And so then you're going, for something to be expressed, there has to be real sacrifice, real surrender, real feeling. Like these components must be in spiritual life, right? And it must become realer and realer. And then we find, to become real, a little more journey than we originally expected, right? So many superficial senses of self and so we've been playing. But then when they're kind of falling to the wayside, right? And then underneath, that reality can reveal itself to us, and maybe only for a flash, but then that flash is enough where everything else has lost its other, so to speak. Right?
There's something, very beautiful, and we hesitate to say these things, but we're being pointed at this, that the Lord himself feels some wonderful sense of attitude and being controlled by the necessity of the devotee. Ultimately, that necessity is pulling him, right? That's ultimately the highest interpretation of this Teshamo Evanukam Partam. It's like, I'm feeling grateful to them, and I'm being pulled to them to manifest myself. And sometimes there's this beautiful kind of word that represents Krishna, which is Shyama Sundar, the beautiful but hidden, dark Lord. And then he is surrounded, sometimes it's saying the dark Lord is surrounded in yellow cloth, and the yellow cloth is representing Radharani. So we can see him because she is surrounding him. She is wrapping him. And
like
one
faith
went
is
to
the halo of Śrīmatī Radharani.
right. Faith, Shraddha is her halo, and also Śaraṇāgati. One thing Guru Maharaj says is Śaraṇāgati herself contains the infinite, is embracing the infinite. So these are like profound ideas, almost visual ideas in the world of consciousness. And there's something so wonderful which is being continually and freshly mined at all times, that the devotees are a part of. And ultimately that's why we're in the line of Radha Dasyan, because what she can extract from him, he doesn't even understand what's within himself. And when we read the highest conversation that's ever been captured in this universe, which is Sri Ramananda Samvad, which is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is the conversation where Mahaprabhu is, really he's talking to Ramananda Rai, who he shows as his Ragamar Guru. Again, another revolutionary, form-breaking conversation by Mahaprabhu, where Ramananda Rai is, there's many levels of Guru, but Ragamar Guru is like the ultimate Guru. Mahaprabhu is putting himself in a place where he's showing Ramananda Rai as his Ragamar Guru. But he's essentially saying to Ramananda, what is the highest thing? What is what is the real thing? And finally, Ramananda, he says something which is Jnane prayasa murapasyanamanta eva jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadeya bharta sthane stita shruti gatam tanuvan manobhir jay prayaso jita pyasita lokya. The last line of that shloka is, who is unconquerable becomes conquered. Mahaprabhu is really having this conversation where Ramananda is saying so many beautiful shlokas, and Mahaprabhu says, no, that's superficial, go deeper. Nope, that's superficial, go deeper. Nope, that's superficial, go deeper. And these are like wonderful shlokas, and you're like, wow. And then finally Ramananda says this shloka, and Mahaprabhu says, now we're starting somewhere. Why? Because he says, what is this where the unconquerable infinite source of the absolute becomes conquered? And Mahaprabhu said, that's what I came to explore. Right? And then all the rasas and the bhavas, and the conversation goes higher from there. But these are very exclusive things. But this is the wonderful thing, that the finite can conquer the infinite through love. So Krishna's hinting at this through this shloka.
This is such a wonderful subject, but I think, we know, we can understand a little bit that the very nature of love, real love, actual devotion, must be separation. Because there's no question of a feeling of devotion being satisfied. No devotees think, okay, well, I'm a devotee now. They're always thinking, love just doesn't have that quality. It's always trying to give more. Srila Guru Maharaj said, the devotee wants to sacrifice his existence for Kṛṣṇa. He's so wonderful, and yet he doesn't die. He becomes more enhanced, and then that devotion becomes enhanced, and that separation becomes enhanced, because he wants to give more. So this is an eternal thing. This is the one thing that has no ceiling. It's eternal, it's infinite, it's always increasing, and at every moment there is a taste of sweetness that has never been known before. This is the nature of the Lord. He's not within any boundary at all. And love for him has no boundary. And especially in the case of Madhura Ras. Madhura Ras is the highest expression. It's the lowest expression of this plane. Absolute diametrical opposite. But it is the highest expression in the divine plane. Nothing, there's no limit of what they will what they will give. Nothing. Crossing everything. I mean, anyway, this is what we're hearing, and it's very, appreciable, even by us somehow.
Anyways, that's a very deep question, Christian, and it's important to start to contemplate and to hear these things. We hear these things and we start to process them with our intellect and to some extent with our heart. And, we're hearing these things which you cannot hear actually anywhere else. But this is actually the nature of reality and the nature of the play of the Lord with His devotees. Okay, so we'll read 2 more verses and then we will stop. So Arjuna just heard all this. And what does he say? Arjuna uvacha parang brahma parang dhamma pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adidevam majam vibhum ahustvam rishaya sarve devarshir naradasthatha asito devalo vyasaha swayam chaiva bravishime. Right.
Arjuna said, O Lord, you are the Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Shelter and the Supreme Savior. All the prominent sages such as Devarishi Narada, Ashita, Devala and Vyas have described you as self-manifest, eternal Supreme Person, the fountainhead of all opulences and the root of all existence, from whose divine play everything emanates. And now you are personally declaring this to be the truth.
Maybe we should read.
I was like, maybe a couple more.
The next 3. That'll be it. Sarvam etad ritang manye yanmam dvadasi keshava nahite bhagavan vyaktim viduddeva nadanavaha svayam evatmanatmanam ethatvam purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutesha devadeva jagatpate vaktum arhasya sheshena divyāhyatma vibhūtayah yabhid vibhūtibhid lokan imangstvam vyapya tishthasi. Haraye Prabhu.
O Keshava, I fully accept all that you have said. O Lord, indeed neither demigods nor demons know your personality in full. O Supreme Person, Universal Father, Lord of all beings, God of the gods, Lord of the universe. Only you can know yourself and by your own divine potency. Please describe to me in full your personal opulences by which you pervade all these worlds.
So the rest of the chapter, wonderful descriptions of the Lord Himself, how we may perceive Him and His opulences within this universe we find ourselves. Okay. Jai Shri Krishna ki jai, Arjuna ki jai, jai Kurukshetra Dham ki jai, Bhagavad-Gita Upanishad ki jai, Shri Rupana Guru Varga ki jai, jai Om Vishnu Bhashila Bhakti Sundar Govindari Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. And all the devotees reading Gita tonight ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Bol.
Madhavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Jai Mahaprasad ki jai.
Jai
Jai and Dhvani Prabhu ki jai.
Jai Śrīmatī Śrīlekha Didi. Haribo.
All the devotees on the internet.
Very fortunate to have the association of the online devotees such as Kṛṣṇa Mohini Didi, Vimā Krishna Prabhu, Shanta Didi, Madhurima Didi, and Dandava pranams from the Sharmas, Lavanya Didi.
Very sneaky.
Rio.